Welcome to Once a Metro Let's Play FIFA. I'm Bobby Solentano.
I'm Anthony Terminelli.
And this week we have the Houston Dynamo against the New York Red Bulls. Houston is of course at home at BBVA Compass Stadium, and the New York Red Bulls are away, obviously. And there's been a lot of transfer rumors this week. Oh, what? Whoops. So used to doing it. Orange and blue,
yeah. Yeah, the biggest story, I guess you could say, is the amount of injuries that the Red Bulls have, and the amount of, not just injuries, but like every little like absence, I guess. Who all is out? I know the defense is pretty messed up. Miazga's in New Zealand.
Yeah, if they're on the defense, they're probably gone. For example, we have, there's a rumor this week that Damian Perenelle will not, I don't know if it's official yet, but I don't think he's going to be playing on Friday. Then we have, of course, Kemar Lawrence is probably going to, I think he's going to be at the game, but he's getting called up for international duty for Jamaica. Carl Yumet has just been chosen to play on the Canadian national team. And then, of course, we have Ronald Zubar injured. We have Roy Miller is technically injured, but he should probably be playing. So the back line's going to be looking really messed up probably this week. If not this Friday's game, next week. Or there's a bye actually this next week, and then after that.
Alright. So yeah, one of the biggest transfer rumors is Pirlo to NYCFC.
Here we go.
I think that's actually a bad signing for them. Like, I think Pirlo's good, but first of all, their midfield is Lampard and Pirlo. Like, that would be two of their midfield members. I think they use a 4-2-3-1. They also have Discarud in there, but if you have a midfield of Pirlo and Lampard, you don't really have the fastest midfield in the world. And they also have a pretty terrible defense. So, obviously from a Red Bull fan's perspective, the more money spent on like players that aren't defenders, the better, because that means they'll continue being pretty terrible. But they will have a pretty decent attack, obviously, like I said, with Lampard, Villa, and Pirlo. But it'll be interesting to see how things play out, if that does actually happen. That's the biggest thing. I think there's a good chance it'll go there, but yeah, it'll be interesting.
So do you think I mean, the rumor is, I don't even know if it's a rumor anymore, but it's not official, that he's kind of done like what Lampard did, where he's confirmed that will be his next destination?
I guess so, yeah. He did say he wanted to move to MLS after the Champions League. He said he wanted to win it, but I mean, obviously Barcelona are they're a pretty difficult team to play against, and I think even if they lose, he'll still be out, because I don't think he can take it much longer playing in Italy. It's a pretty tough league to play in.
I was seeing there were some New York City FC fans, of course, always getting on Red Bull's case, and they're saying, like, if they get this signing, who's Red Bull going to have? Like, Bradley Wright Phillips, that's about it. Some Twitter arguments, of course, raging, but then there was also the argument, like, attendance doesn't really matter anymore. Oh, man, one of the batteries is low. Attendance doesn't really matter anymore. In like the likes of soccer, it's more about like how many ratings you can get on television. For example, I don't know if you saw the numbers for the U20 USA game against Myanmar. Totally pronouncing it wrong, right?
I think it's like Myanmar or something like that. This kid's pretty terrible with pronunciation. So,
anyways, I think it had like over like.
I think it was around like
200,000.
Yeah, it was around 200,000, which is pretty ridiculous.
Yeah,
I think
especially
that was,
for 3 in the morning.
And I think,
Bradley.
Bradley.
Ending at
there
2
we
in the
go.
morning.
All right, 1-0. Yeah, I think I saw something saying that was more than the Revolution and LA Galaxy game, which is like a primetime game, which is pretty impressive.
There's probably a lot of international viewers there.
That's good and bad though, because MLS not getting the views, especially for a big primetime game. But it's also good because our under-20s are getting attention, and you have players like Miazga playing for them, and of course ZLM. But obviously Miazga is a Red Bulls player. So.
Did you see ZLM's? Some people say Zalalem, and others say ZLM.
I have no idea how to pronounce it.
He had a Rabona, and it was a Rabona nutmeg, and then he also had a scoop turn nutmeg.
Yeah.
All in.
Both of those were pretty crazy, but like it's not even obviously those things are what kind of gets everyone's attention, but you can just tell he's a level above everyone else by like the touches he takes. Like, he's got insane ball control compared to even some guys on the
Bradford
senior
Jamison
team.
the fourth, like.
But yeah, you can tell he's definitely going to be something special. I mean, there's a reason why Germany wanted him too.
How did that go in?
That was a very good save from Robles.
I'm looking forward to the U.S. Open Cup games, though. We have the New York Cosmos playing against New York City FC on June 17th, as well as the New York Red Bulls playing against the NASL team, the Atlanta Silverbacks, on June 16th. Who do you think is going to win those games? Especially the Cosmos New York City game.
I think New York City FC will come out victorious in the Cosmos game. And then the Red Bulls don't really care about the U.S. Open Cup, really.
It's kind of a shame.
So I think Atlanta's going to win that. Yeah, it's pretty annoying because cup competitions aren't really. It's not like they're just kind of nothing. I mean, obviously in England you have the League Cup, which a lot of people see is kind of inferior to the FA Cup, but you still have the FA Cup in England, which a lot of the big teams
care about.
Yeah, it's still a pretty major trophy.
Yeah, shouts out to Arsenal for winning their 12th.
Yes.
First team to get to 12.
Yes, that's my favorite team, so I was very excited about that.
I watched that game. It was a good game. Also, for my predictions, I'm actually going to give the New York Cosmos the win. They have a really nice lineup, and I got some news from Twice a Cosmos that the SB Nation blog for, of course, the New York Cosmos, that Walter Restrepo should be back, as well as Marco Senna, and their midfield is just really strong, especially with Raul in there. I mean, he's of course not the fastest player on the pitch, but some of his touches and he has abilities that other players in the NASL simply don't have, such as he had a scoop, chip, assist the other day. That was amazing, and then he ended up scoring off of that. He scooped it as an assist, and yeah, I'm not going to ramble about his goal. But I see the New York Cosmos coming away with that, especially with New York City FC haven't been able to win an MLS game in so long.
Oh, that was a perfect ball for Mike Rella, but it's a little too much.
For the Red Bulls, it's going to basically be, a lot of people are saying, the New York Red Bulls 2 playing against the Atlanta Silverbacks, which I'm perfectly okay with. But again, I would like to see. I mean, the New York Cosmos beat the Red Bulls last year 3-0, and as a Red Bulls fan, before I became a Cosmos fan in the NASL, it was really depressing to see, because you know how much talent they have on, and you know how much talent they have on the team, but they didn't use any of it. I don't think Thierry Henry played in the U.S. Open Cup. Tim Cahill, I don't think.
It's always very annoying whenever. You get excited for these U.S. Open Cup games because they play against teams that are lower level, and it's fun to see that. And then they don't play their best players. I'm sure if you're a last year, I'm sure if you're a Cosmos player, I get to play against Thierry Henry finally, and then he doesn't play. That's got to be kind of crushing.
Yeah, shout out to the New York Cosmos for playing Cuba and actually starting and playing Raul. It was actually really nice to see, especially if he wasn't playing. It wouldn't have been as big of a deal. I mean, it's still a humongous deal being. I think the first team since 1999, the Baltimore Orioles, terms as a baseball team, to go to Cuba and play a sport there. And then since then, it's been the 70s or 60s since a team has played soccer there. So it was a big moment for soccer as a whole. But as Terms mentioned there with the U.S. Open Cup, I have an article coming out, not to plug myself here, about lower league soccer and why you should watch lower league soccer. U.S. soccer, of course.
So close.
And definitely go check that out. Brings up the U.S. Open Cup a bit, but more shines light on the teams that.
Who was that?
Don't
I
get
think that was Mike
international
Grella.
spotlight or national spotlight. Mike Grella just had an interview with Loot Lifestyle.
Yeah, I still have yet to watch that, but I heard it's very good. I'll definitely have to do that later today.
Yeah, it's really good. And I made a Yu-Gi-Oh card of Mike Grella as a joke for a post I did a while back. And somehow this guy dug it up, and he showed Mike Grella, which was really cool to see. And Mike Grella started laughing with there was a Macklemore comment in it. So, it's nice to see that he, appreciated it.
Yeah, I actually, I do give Mike Grella a lot of stick, but he is playing out of position, and in the Sounders game, he had a really nice curved shot that Fry saved, and it shows his abilities as a striker, and I actually have a post that I still need to do, where I'm going to be doing some analysis, and basically, I think Grella could be used as a striker. I don't know exactly what formation, because I know Jesse Marsh loves the 4-2-3-1, and a lot of teams use that, and a lot of teams see it as the way forward. But I think, hold on, let me get onto this. Dax McCarty too slow. Yeah, I think that he does have some talent as a striker. Can hit the ball pretty well, as we saw, and he has pretty decent positional sense. Obviously, he's not as good as Bradley Wright Phillips when it comes to playing as a striker, but I think he definitely does have a future as a striker. Maybe not as a winger. I still kind of don't like him as a winger, but as a striker, I could see him getting a few goals.
Speaking on formation, this week, I believe it was Tuesday's practice, was it? It was either Monday or Tuesday's practice for the New York Red Bulls. Once a Metro was able to get some news from Jesse Marsh, and we actually found out something very interesting. He has a plan, or he mentioned a plan, where he would have Anatole Bong, the 18-year-old striker for Cameroon's club, Rainbow FC, play with Bradley Wright Phillips, but have Bradley Wright Phillips drop back. So not pair the strikers side by side, but rather have Bradley Wright Phillips play underneath.
Yeah, I think that's kind of weird.
I would rather see it paired, obviously.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would. I think a lot of people would like to see 4-4-2, because that's, obviously the Red Bulls it was more of, I guess, a 4-4-1-1. It was kind of a throwback to, early Arsenal, around, when they had Bergkamp and Henry. Henry actually playing the Bergkamp role, and then Bradley Wright Phillips playing the Henry role. But they had Henry, obviously he's a good finisher, but he's also a good playmaker.
Make a formation change.
Go ahead.
Lineup,
I'm actually going to make a sub too. Yeah, I lost my train of thought. Okay, yeah. Bradley Wright Phillips isn't as good of a playmaker as Henry. I think he can make sort of those runs from deep and catch the defense off guard, but he's not as good of a playmaker as Henry, and that's why I don't think him dropping deep is a good idea. I could see maybe Grella actually dropping deep, and then Bradley Wright Phillips playing up higher. Grella, he plays as a winger now, so I think Jesse Marsh has, I guess he sees some sort of passing and playmaking ability in Grella. I'm not entirely sure, but it would be something nice to see Grella and Bradley Wright Phillips up front. Sam.
No, please.
There we go. Lloyd Sam, the Bradley Wright Phillips.
I haven't won a FIFA game on here in a couple of weeks now. One of our writers, Juan Nguyen, actually mentioned bringing a 4-1-2-1-2 formation to the club. I mean, he didn't publicize this or anything, but he mentioned it to me instead of the what's it called, Open Cup, where you have two strikers and then you have kind of a U shape.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the video actually cut out on us, and we didn't notice till afterwards again. But thankfully, we're both still here. And what we were talking about right before that clip ended was Anatola Bong playing with Bradley Wright Phillips behind him. And I mentioned, or our other writer, Juan Nguyen, actually mentioned using a 4-1-2-1-2. But there's also the 4-4-2 formation the Red Bulls could use, where it's more of like a open cup with two strikers up top and then wingers on both sides, right?
Yeah, and then two midfielders like dropping a little deeper.
Okay, so, and I think you mentioned that that would take. Would Felipe Martin still be in that then? Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, if if they didn't want to use a bomb for whatever reason, they could use Gorilla and Bradley Wright Phillips up top, and then
Oh, I said I was going to score that, remember?
yeah, and then Felipe on the left, which I don't know how that would work out, but I mean it would be something to see maybe.
Another thing we mentioned was Michael Essien.
Yeah, there were rumors of him going to the Red Bulls potentially. Instead, he actually went to Panathinaikos. I'm not sure if it's been confirmed by Panathinaikos themselves, but there was a tweet from Michael Essien himself basically saying how the fans there greeted him very nicely. But yeah, no more Michael Essien.
Yeah, I'm happy for him. I'm a Milan fan, and he really wasn't being used as much as he could have at Milan. There's so many good midfielders at AC Milan right
yeah,
now.
They have De Jong, obviously, but
Yeah, yeah, Nigel De Jong. They have Bonaventura.
yeah.
They have Montalivo, Soli Montari. I'm just trying to name a couple off the top of my head.
Yeah,
Van Ginkel.
I don't know if he was a loan from Chelsea or if it was a free agent. But yeah, he didn't do much. And there's a third goal from Bradley Wright Phillips, the hat trick. He did not do much there.
Yeah, I don't think he had a goal. He had 20 appearances as he did at Real Madrid while he was on loan there from Chelsea. At Real Madrid, he had 2 goals, where at AC Milan, he had 0. But I'm really happy for Gate 13, the supporters of Panathinaikos. Yeah.
Almost. Very
almost.
nearly.
Almost. The Greek club. Greek super club, basically. They're like either number 1 or 2 with, what's the other club? Olympiakos?
Olympiakos. And then there's PAOK or PAOK. And then there's one more that AEK Athens. They're like the 4 big clubs in France. Obviously, I might upset a few Greek viewers here, but Olympiakos are widely considered to be the biggest club in Greece. I think they have around like 30 league titles. It's pretty ridiculous.
Wow. Yeah, so that's what we wanted to just mention, what the video got cut out. But I'm Bobby Celentano, even though you can't see me.
I'm Anthony Terminelli.
And this has been Once a Metro, Let's Play FIFA.